Welcome to An American Homestead, podcasting live from deep within the Ozark Mountains at an elevation of 2,200 feet. It's 10 Eastern, 9 Central, Saturday night. It's good to be back. Got a big bunch of stack of stuff to talk about tonight. A lot of homesteading news, things that affect you as homesteaders directly. We're going to talk about gardens tonight. Obviously, the gardens are coming in. People are growing stuff everywhere right now, so there's all kinds of great homesteading topics to talk about tonight. Jamie's with me as always. No coffee tonight. It's way too hot, folks. The heat has settled in, the humidity especially. So we're going to have a great show tonight. Sponsored and brought to you by Gasspouts.com. Gasspouts.com. Guys, you hate those old Walmart gas spouts? This is your option. You want those gas spouts like American gas spouts made in the USA that work when you want them to. They don't drip all over the place. You want a gas spout from Gasspouts.com. So these guys have been sending us gas spouts, and we've been giving them away to our audience here and there. We gave one out last week. We're going to give some more out this week, and so you'll have to tune in for that. But these guys contacted us after I contacted them because I was interested in their product, because we have those crazy Walmart gas cans that just don't pour gas at all because they're child-proof, adult-proof. And so they sent us some. We used it. We did a video on it, and they gave our audience a 20% discount. So any of you guys who have those silly Walmart gas cans and want the discount, it's simple. It's capital A, capital H, for An American Homestead, AAH 20 off. AAH 20 off, and you get 20% off your order. So that's brought to you by Gasspouts.com. Check them out. U.S. American-made gas spouts that you can replace on your silly old China Mart gas cans that actually work. Hey, listen, folks, if you like channels like this, you like shows like this, shows that talk about homesteading, off-grid living, preparedness, gardening, livestock, chickens, alternative energy, and food preservation, just to name a few, then you're going to love going over to thehomesteadnetwork.com, checking out their show times, and seeing all of the other great shows that are on, not just, on Saturday night, but all throughout the week. You can check them out. You can go to their show times, thehomesteadnetwork.com. We're the late show of the weekend homestead shows. Saturday night, the late show, last show on the network. And we follow Deep South Homestead, which is a homestead in Mississippi, and they have a pretty good show right before ours where they talk about all of their growing adventures and things that are going on. They have a YouTube channel as well. You can find all of these channels, these great channels, over at thehomesteadnetwork.com. So that's kind of my house cleaning plugs that I do every week. Jamie's with me. No coffee tonight. It's just too hot.
Yeah, it got a little warm today.
So, what did we do this week? Don't look at my notes, because I was quick tonight on making notes, and I just threw stuff up there. So,
you want the rundown? Cooking, cleaning, homeschool, stuffing food into children's mouths that won't eat.
Yeah, our youngest doesn't, But what everyone wants to know is, did we get rid of the cats?
The cats are still here.
The cats are still here. We're supposed to hopefully get rid of them tomorrow.
We're trying. Something always comes up on the day we're supposed to do it, and it's just
tomorrow.
hasn't worked out.
Tomorrow, someone told us, "Hey Zach, you got to go after Sunday at noon when the church crowd gets out and they're going to Walmart. Go and sit in front of the Walmart parking lot and give away your kittens." And so I think we're going to do that tomorrow. We're going to head over there around 11:30, and put a couple signs out. Free kittens! Free kittens!
Yeah, if it's not raining.
I hope it's not.
See how it goes.
It looks like they reduced the chance of raining.
They're super cute.
Yeah, they're super cute. Hey, anybody wants a kitten tomorrow, Huntsville Walmart, Huntsville, Arkansas, you can have a free kitten. Okay. So this week, blackberries started to come in. What are we going to do with blackberries this year?
No jam.
We already have plenty left from last year.
We have lots of jam left. I'm going to can them. I'm going to see how I can do...
Preserves?
Yeah, no. Just for
pies?
I'm just going to try to can them in water or juice.
Water or juice?
See how it goes. I don't want to add extra sugar. I hate adding sugar to fruit that I'm canning. But these will be used for like pies and cobblers and stuff. Okay, but then the water can be drained and sugar can be added to the pie later on. Okay. But I I want it to be versatile. I don't like adding sugar to what I'm canning. I'm going to see how that goes.
So, yeah, so we're going to have a lot of these come in, but I think we're going to make some wine.
Okay.
So, I have a carboy right now, a spare carboy. I'm going to get that ready and cleaned out again, and maybe we'll do a video on that, starting the wine process with the blackberries. And so we'll get that going. I have another carboy that's full right now, still full. It's been sitting there almost, well, it's not quite a year yet, but it's maybe been about 8 months, full of sorghum juice. And so we pressed our sorghum, and it's been fermenting there for about 8 months in this carboy. And it's really, done. So it's got airlocks on it, so it's no big deal, so it's fine. But I need to go ahead and distill that. We'll do a video. Can't do that on YouTube because YouTube, that's, they demonetize stuff like that. I've heard all kinds of people who distill things like that on YouTube, and they get their videos demonetized or age restricted. They get them age restricted, so that means nobody sees them basically. And so we'll put that on Patreon. Speaking of that, there was a guy, Tim, my father-in-law who lives here on the homestead, Jamie's dad, was telling me about this guy out there. He's a German guy. I forgot the name of the channel now, but he makes like rubber band guns, wooden rubber band guns and wooden, toy guns. And all of his videos got demonetized. Just all of them.
He made, he put something on a fidget spinner.
Yeah, it was rubber band.
But
he was shooting fidget spinners.
No, he took the little circle things out of a fidget spinner.
The bearings.
Whatever. No. I don't know what they're called.
I saw the one where he was shooting fidget spinners across a field.
Yeah, but he made it into an actual weapon.
Either way, the guy mostly makes rubber band guns, folks. Rubber band guns.
Yeah, but they're rubber band guns on steroids.
Well, yeah, but they're still rubber bands.
I agree.
And they're wood and guns.
Hey, I mean, I have 2 little boys who think that kind of stuff is cool.
Yeah. So anyway, all of his videos got demonetized. He was talking about it or whatever. Anyway, so we're gonna do that show. We're gonna distill the sorghum juice into rum. Unfortunately, I have a federal permit to do that. I do not have a permit to keep it into rum. So as soon as it's done, it has to be denatured with gasoline. So we denature it by law. We have to denature it with gasoline so that it's not drinkable. But we do have a federal permit to run that distiller. It has a permit number engraved on the still. And so we're above board. We're following all of our laws, but it doesn't matter. YouTube will still put you in YouTube jail if you put videos up like that. And so speaking of Tim, he's working on the shower house. He's been working on that this whole week, and we're going to do another video on that coming up here soon. He can walk through some of the features, and it's almost done. It won't be long before that's done. Coming up for our big fall feast that'll be happening in October this year. We moved the sheep and cow off the pastures and paddocks. We want the grass to recover. We had a little bit of rain the last couple of days. We have some more rain lined up this week. And so we're going to be getting plenty of rain. That'll give plenty of time for the grass to recover. I just don't like the grass to be eaten down so low that it just kills it. And so with the rain coming, I thought it'd be a great time to pull the sheep off and the cow off of the grass and let that recover. And we're feeding them alfalfa pellets. We did a small video for the patrons on Friday showing Joshua out there in the rain, feeding the animals. And speaking of patron videos, we have a video coming up this week. We're going to be doing. I got 5 pounds of potassium nitrate. This is another video I can't do on YouTube because it'll get restricted. So we're gonna do smoke bombs. And, very easy, family-friendly, smoke bombs. It's potassium nitrate mixed with sugar and some baking powder, and it makes an unbelievably awesome smoke bomb. I thought that'd be great for 4th of July time frame. People like that, and so very easy to do. Show you how to do it, give you the recipe, and let you guys do it. And we'll even show you how we make the pull pins, where you can use it to where you make an easy pull pin where you pull the pin and then throw the smoke grenade. And very easy, simple to do, very safe, and great for kids with adult supervision, obviously. But there's lots of places where you can order the potassium nitrate powdered form online, and obviously most people have sugar in their homes and baking powder. That's all you need to make this happen. So we'll do a video on that coming up this week. And as Danny noted on Deep South Homestead before the show, we were working on the track loader, the dozer track loader, this week, and I got the front plate installed, and it looks good. The pump won't fit, but there's some issues with the hoses, so I found a guy who is going to come out and look at it. I just want to make sure that the pump goes on right, because if you put a hydraulic pump on this track loader wrong, you could mess some other things up. So especially if you hook the hoses up wrong. So I want to make sure it's done right. And there's a guy coming out to look at it. He said he might not be able to get to it till the end of this next week. So we're just going to have to wait and see on that. But I'm excited that he is going to take a look at it, and he knows what he's doing. And if the hoses matched up perfectly, I just hook them up. But the hoses don't match up perfectly the way it is. I think there's maybe some parts missing. It's just by the grace of God that we found the parts that we did so far, that the guy, whoever took this apart, lost them initially. And so I got to make sure it's done right, guys, because I don't want to have problems later on. So what else? Our corn is coming in. We're going to be getting some corn soon.
Yeah, we've had some pretty small ears before, so
I think it's going to be our best year yet. And you know what I did what Danny told me. Well, Danny told everyone on the show before us. He said put lots of chicken manure, and so that's where I've been putting all the chicken manure is on the corn. Not lately, but leading up all winter long, I put the chicken where the corn was going to grow, or chicken manure where the corn was going to grow, and just kept loading it there and planted the corn, and it came up. And it's growing real strong. Looks really good. So we're going to see, the rain's coming down, so we're going to see what happens. Hopefully we're going to get some really good corn here soon. I'm sure Deep South has already got their corn, but, we're north of them, so.
Well, yeah, we're in a completely different zone, it seems like.
Oh, yeah, they're like 2 zones below us.
They're well into their harvest.
Yeah, they're like 2 zones below us. But, yeah, we haven't really started our harvest yet, I couldn't say.
Well, I mean, a little bit, but not enough to preserve.
No. It's coming. It's going to be coming here very quickly. Our tomatoes are coming in. There's so many tomatoes out there in the garden.
Just waiting for them to get ripe.
Yeah, they're all green still, but they're coming in like crazy. We're going to have
I'm
lots.
Salivating.
Yeah.
I love the first red tomato of the summer.
We're going to have a lot of tomatoes. So, and then we did that video this week about the zucchini getting eaten by the mole or vole or whatever it was, but it just totally destroyed it. But there's one zucchini plant out there still alive with zucchini on it, so maybe we'll get some more. So, this week, the big news, if you didn't know, and this was big news, folks, because this hits right at where we're one of the big reasons why we decided to homestead. And there's lots of reasons. If you watch our season episodes that me and Jamie, we talk about why we decided to homestead. It's the food issue, not knowing what you're eating, what the stores are selling you. You don't know where it's coming from. Is it coming from China? Is it coming from these mass-produced commercial farms where they spray it with all kinds of chemicals or raise the animals with all kinds of antibiotics? It's just, there's lots of reasons. But one of the big reasons is, the collapse of our country is absolutely imminent. It's absolutely imminent, and it's happening right now. The collapse is happening. It started this week. And if you have not seen this, it's because the mainstream media is not really talking about it. They're talking about Trump. They're talking about Russia. They're talking about all kinds of silly stuff. But they're not talking about what's happening to our country right now. So ZeroHedge.com. It says, from horrific to catastrophic. Link is in the description below. You can follow along. We always put the links to the articles we're going to discuss in the description so you can follow along, read along with us. The first one from Zero Hedge, from horrific to catastrophic, court ruling sends Illinois into financial abyss. It says first Maine, then Connecticut, and finally late on Friday, confirming the worst case outcome many had expected. Illinois entered its third straight fiscal year without a budget as the Republican governor, Bruce Rauner, and Democratic lawmakers failed to agree on how to compromise over the government's chronic deficits, pushing it closer toward becoming the first junk-rated U.S. state. By the end of Friday, the last day of the fiscal year, Illinois legislators failed to enact a budget while negotiations continued amid some glimmers of hope. And lawmakers planned to meet over the weekend, and failure marked a continuation of the historic impasse that left Illinois without a full-year budget since mid-2015, which the S&P warned 1 month ago will likely result in a humiliating and unprecedented downgrade of the fifth most populous U.S. state to junk status. And then came the begging, it says, at Zero Hedge. According to Bloomberg, on Friday, Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan, a Democrat who controls much of the legislative agenda, pleaded, please, with rating companies to temporarily withhold judgment as lawmakers negotiate. Much work remains to be done, the Democrat said on the House floor Friday, but before the chamber adjourned for the day. We'll get the job done. Meanwhile, the state remains without a spending plan as tax receipts and outlays. Folks, Illinois is broke. They've been broke, and now the time has come to pay the piper. And the judge basically went before a judge. It says, I'll read this. It says, however, in a shocking development, just hours remaining before the midnight deadline to pass the Illinois budget, Illinois' imminent loss of its investment grade rating, federal judge Joan Lefkow in Chicago ordered Illinois to come up with hundreds of millions of dollars it owes to Medicaid patients that state officials say the government does not have. Judge Lefkow ordered the state to make $586 million in monthly payments from the current $160 million, as well as another $2 billion towards a $3 billion backlog of payments. A $167 million increase in monthly outlays. Folks, they don't have the money. So, the issue is, this is where the news story takes a turn. I mean, this is where you have to, no one's reporting this that I have seen. I mean, I don't have a TV, I'm not paying attention like some people are, but I don't see this on front page news of every newspaper in America. It says Friday's court ruling, which meant that a near insolvent state must pay an additional $593 million per month, may have been the straw that finally broke the camel's back. Now this is from the comptroller, Susana Mendoza. This is the person who handles all the money in the state. Friday's ruling by the U.S. District Court takes the state finances from horrific to catastrophic. As a result of the court decision, payments to the state pension funds, state payroll, including legislator pay, general state aid to schools, and payments to local governments, in some combination will likely have to be cut. So, I think each one of us know, former teachers, former people, who've worked for the state and local governments in some way, police officers. I mean, a lot of us have family who are police officers or who have worked in that line. People in Illinois, police officers, teachers, people who get a pension, firefighters, who are living on these pensions, they're going to get cut, and they estimate somewhere between 70% cut. So let's just say you get a check for $1,000 a month from the state of Illinois, and you're surviving on that. You're elderly. You're surviving on that $1,000 a month. That's going to be cut down to $300. How are you going to survive? Folks, I've long quoted Michael Hudson. He says, a debt that cannot be paid won't be. It can't be paid. This country is broke. Illinois is just the first one to fall. They're saying New Jersey and maybe even California will be the next. But they're broke. We're absolutely broke. And it's only because the only reason you don't see bread lines in America today is because of EBT and all of the government handouts that we give out that are basically just on a card, on the EBT cards and credit cards, debit cards that the government hands out. There's no more bread lines. But this state, Illinois, and we have said many times on the show, you remember probably, right, where the biggest exodus happening right now in the U.S. is in Cook County, Illinois, people leaving Cook County, Chicago.
Yeah.
60,000 people left last year alone. Chicago. Those are taxpayers. This is why they're broke. They're not just leaving Chicago, they're leaving Illinois because the state has been run so poorly by really leftist, Democrats. So what's the point of homesteading? Why is this? What does this have to do with homesteading? We did an article last year, I believe. Was it last year? Let me look at it. It was 2 years ago. It was called Homesteading: The Ultimate Survival Prep. Now, this was talking about all of the rioting and things going on in Greece at the time, 2015. And right now you have Caracas, Venezuela that's happening. What do you think is going to happen in Chicago when all of these people, these firefighters, these retired teachers, these police officers, all these people who rely on a government paycheck get their pensions cut by 70%? What do you think? Do you think? I mean, these are elderly. They're not going to go out and riot in the streets. But these are also people. We're also talking about people who rely on government assistance, state assistance, who are not going to be getting it anymore because the state is broke. These people are going to go nuts. And so, I mean, it's the same thing. So, homesteading, the ultimate survival prep. Long time ago, and we're going to talk more about this, I think, in future videos coming up. But when we left the city, we left St. Louis. Which is another one of these cities that have been disastrously run and organized. We left St. Louis City, and we sold. I cashed out of my little 401k that I had. Tim cashed out of his investments that he had, and sure, we had to pay penalties for that. But you know what? We turned that into something that was tangible. Land is tangible. It's a tangible asset. A sheep, a cow, a goat, a chicken is a tangible asset. And so that's one of the things we tell people on our channel and on our website is get out of the cities. If you want a homestead, turn your money that you still have, that you can still get access to, into tangible assets that you can use. A tractor is a tangible asset. These things are tangible. They're something you can use to build. So on this article, and I linked to that in the description below, we wrote this in 2015, but it still applies today. How homesteading is the ultimate survival prep, because there's a lot of people in these cities who are prepping and they're storing up food and guns, ammo, and whatever else, but they're still in the city, and they're not preparing their families for what's coming. And Illinois right now is a clear picture of what is happening. And when these people lose their funding, because the people who are on Medicaid, they already can't get Medicaid anymore. They can't get the payments to pay the Medicaid. It's all going to be taken away. It's happening right now. The collapse of the United States is happening. Guys, empires rise and fall. It's just, of course, throughout history, it happens. It's just going to keep happening. But, I mean, we're witnessing it right now, and it's because we do not have a control on our spending. The United States of America is broke. So that's our first article tonight. I wanted to mention that, and then also post our article for homesteading, the ultimate survival prep, and show that to you guys because it's very important. I know a lot of you guys, excuse me, are working very hard at getting out of the city and getting into a homestead, and you're looking for land. Keep working towards that goal. I just continue to urge you to do that, and it's going to be very hard. You may have to make sacrifices. It's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be pleasant at times, but in the long run, you're going to preserve your family and preserve yourselves. You do not want to be in these cities when the balloon goes up. And the balloon is being inflated as we speak right now. So we'll leave that with that. You can check out the articles over the Homesteading Ultimate Survival Prep is over at AmericanHomestead.com. Link in the description below. You can check that out. So this one I thought would be a good one, too, this article. This is from Off the Grid News, and usually, Jamie's very critical of this website. But I thought they had a pretty good, maybe we'll see if you think this article is any good or not. But it's money for nothing. It's 3 overlooked ways homesteaders make extra cash. And, you can admit, though, you've been critical of this website, right?
Yeah. I'll admit that, yeah.
You want to say why?
I just think it's a bunch of armchair writers who've never done anything. Like, maybe they'll look around the internet and find and then make some articles to fit what they find. But I don't think it's written by people who do anything.
Usually it's easy to pick out frauds because you can tell, someone by the way they talk about something, if they've actually ever done it, especially if you've done it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I would agree that
it's more of like a reporting kind of thing than actually written by anybody who has participated in an activity.
Right. Off the grid news. So I would tend to agree with most of that because there have been articles they've written where I'm like, you have no idea what you're talking about. But they do. What I really like off the grid news for is that when a family gets prosecuted for something stupid by local government, they bring a lot of attention to it. Yeah. And a lot of times they have saved these families because of the pressure that off the grid news brings because of their reach and audience. They do a good thing about getting the word out there about lost liberty or encroached liberty. So, but this article, it says, money for nothing, 3 overlooked ways homesteaders make extra cash. And when I read this, something popped into my head that we're doing that I'll tell you about in a minute. But the first one says, I'll just go ahead and start reading. It says, whether you're an experienced homesteader or just starting out, you quickly learn bills don't pay themselves. Nothing is ever a sure thing, and there's constantly something to fix. Don't forget about your taxes. The government certainly won't. If you want your homestead to generate cash or even a profit, hard work is not enough. You must find ways to make as many aspects of your homestead as possible to generate revenue. And so that's one thing, too. I think we talked about this with Doug and Stacy when we were over at the Baker Creek Festival. People ask us, how can I make money on my website? Or, how can I make money on my homestead? And there's no one answer to that. There are many answers to that question. And, you have to explore them all. And, like on our homestead, we have the sawmill, we have things we sell on the website, things we make, we sell seeds. So there's lots of different ways we make money. And it seems like that's true for almost every farmer in our area. They have different ways throughout the year based on the seasons that they make money from their homestead, whether it's cows, whether it's chickens, whether it's eggs, whether it's selling milk or, selling or trading produce for different things. Almost every one of our neighbors, people we know in the area, have all those options, and they do multiple things to make money and get by and raise their families. So the first one they have is fly tying material. And this is something we've never done. We may do it in the future, but I know people who do, and it was brought to our attention, and it's absolutely correct. If you raise poultry or livestock or hunt, chances are you toss a heap of fur and feathers into the trash every time you butcher animals. You could be collecting some money instead. Many of the feathers and furs from poultry and small animals can be repurposed as fly tying materials, which are easily sold to fishermen who tie their own flies. Fly fishing is a popular sport, and these materials are always in demand. Rooster tail and neck hackles, for example, are important components of dry flies. Ring-necked pheasant tail feathers are used in a variety of fishing flies. As well, peacock feathers are often used to make streamer flies. A 4-inch strip of rooster tail feathers can sell for anywhere from $4 to $10, which is not a bad bit of pocket change from something you would otherwise just throw away. More common feathers, such as those from ring-necked pheasants, are even more valuable. Some animal furs, such as the belly fur of rabbits and tails from deer and squirrels, can also be sold as well. I remember when I was trapping, a lot of the trappers would get squirrels, and they would get them by the hundreds, and they would save all the tails. They would throw everything else away, but they'd keep the tails because the tails were worth about $1 a piece. Come rendezvous time, when they would go to the trapper rendezvous, there would be companies there buying those tails for $1 a piece. And so if you saved up 300 squirrel tails, which really isn't that hard to do, and especially in the city, because there's no lack of abundance of squirrels because there's no predator or there's nothing to check the squirrel population. There's no hawks and eagles there. There's very little owls. And so you have squirrels running amok in the cities, and these trappers would go in there and they would catch hundreds of them. And they would sell the tails. That was a couple $100, a few $100 depending on what you got. So, people have told us too that we could sell our chicken feathers, and we have seen that on eBay. You can sell those chicken feathers on eBay. People will buy them. So it's an option for you guys. It's, a lot of people just throw them away because they don't want to deal with it, but people absolutely do buy them. Number 2 is goose down. If you have a flock of geese, and really you should have one. I've never heard of needing flocks of geese, but it says you no doubt enjoy the giant eggs, the fine meat, and the crazy companionship these big birds provide. But when it comes to butchering, you probably just scald and pluck them and get rid of the feathers as fast and as efficiently as you can. If you are throwing away valuable, easily saved commodity goose down. Down feathers, generally defined as those found on the lower carcass of the goose, are important to the textile industry. Down is used as a fill for expensive pillows and to make high-end comforters for beds. That expensive jacket you bought at REI, is that the name of that company?
Yeah, REI.
REI.
It's that camping store.
Is probably filled with the stuff too. People who make items like these, especially on a small scale, are always looking for a steady supply of quality down. So instead of just throwing the down feathers away, process and store them, gather the harvested down feathers, place them in a mesh fabric bag, wash them with water, and then hang the bag out to dry. Once the feathers are dry, store them in a cool, dry location until you have enough to sell. A 1/4 pound of feathers can fetch anywhere from $6 to $10 online. So, I mean, there's a business opportunity. If you have a homestead with maybe an acre or two, the extra, you could raise a bunch of geese and sell down feathers.
You'd have to like the geese, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure I like geese, but, you know, a lot of people do. Maybe that's a business opportunity. You know, or one business opportunity. You're not going to support your whole homestead on down feathers, geese down feathers. Mm-hmm. But it's one of many options. You know, like we said earlier, you know, these people, we have lots of different options, lots of different ways we make money for the homestead. Number 3, the black gold standard. And we've heard of a lot of people doing this as well. No matter how big your herd or flock is, you are probably amazed by how much manure they can produce. Whether it's poultry, rabbits, goats, or other animals, dealing with their manure is likely a part of your routine. But instead of just carting it over to the compost heap, you could be monetizing it instead. Excuse me. Animal manure is often a high-demand item, especially if your homestead is close enough to suburban areas. People want fresh manure to amend their soil or to energize their compost bins. If your manure is organic, it might even sell for a premium too. I don't think you can label it organic by law. You have to label it natural manure. That's a better one to do. But I think they have laws about labeling things organic. It says you should let your manure, especially rabbit and chicken manures, compost for a bit. That's not true at all. Chicken manures, yes. Rabbit manures, no. Rabbit manures, you can post it right from the rabbit right to your garden. It's completely fine. It won't burn anything. Rabbit manure is awesome. It's probably the best manure you can buy. It says then you can bag it, load up the bed of your truck, and then go sell it at the local farmer's market. Better yet, post an ad on Craigslist and let paying customers come and haul it away for you. It says, parting thoughts, the internet makes it easier than ever to connect your homestead with customers looking for unique odds and ends, so try these ideas when you get a chance, or better yet, think up some new ones on your own. And so we've seen this, and we've thought up some new ones on our own. So, first off, the manure is a good one, because people do absolutely buy it. I mean, there's no doubt about it. People buy it, and they pay a lot of money for it. When I tell people that I can get a truckload of rabbit manure for like $50, they just flip because they're paying a lot of money for small bags of rabbit manure to put into their compost bins. So it's out there. You can definitely make money on it. And so what we've done is, you've noticed our sawmill, we've been cutting a lot of cedar wood, right? And that cedar wood, Tim takes it, those boards that we cut on the mill, and he planes them down. And those produce a lot of cedar shavings from the planer, and they all go into a big trash can, and he saves them up. And we can use them, to put on walkways or whatever. But he's been selling them on eBay. He sells bags of planer cedar dust, cedar shavings on eBay, for a few dollars a bag.
It smells really good.
It smells awesome. It smells delightful. And there's a lot of uses people use them for. And he has been selling these bags of cedar shavings from his planer. You wouldn't have thought that people would want this, but people are buying it. And I mean, sometimes he does bulk orders because people want a lot of it. Mm-hmm. So I mean, there's lots of different options out there. People are always asking, how can I make money on my homestead? There's lots of options, but don't limit yourself to thinking that there only has to be one option. I think that's what stops a lot of people. Because, we come from a society where you go to work and there's your job. You're either a computer programmer or you're a police officer. That's what, defines you. That's what you do.
And you get one paycheck.
And you get one paycheck for it. And that pays all your bills throughout the year, and you raise your family on it by doing that one thing, that one job title. Well, when you're on a homestead, you have to step out of that box and understand that you're going to have a lot of titles. You're going to have manure salesman. You're going to have woodworker. You're going to have, down feather salesman. I mean, there's all kinds, egg sales. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you do to get by and make a living. So I think that's what people fail to realize when they start a homestead. They're like, well, I'll just find one thing and then do that. And that's not the way it's going to be. Mm-hmm. Most likely. I mean,
there's this book that I'm having Joshua read for school. It's called Amos Fortune. And towards the end of the book, his whole life, he was a slave and he eventually got out of slavery. But toward the end of his life, his whole life he wanted to buy land. He just wanted land. He wanted his own land. Sound familiar? And the reason, he tried and tried and tried to do it. And he was a tanner. And so he saved his money, and then his money had to go to something else, and he would save his money again. And finally, at the end of his life, he got his own land. And it was a really cool story. I think it got the Newbery Medal honor for children's books. But the point is that finally, at the end of his life, he got land, and finally he started not only making ends meet, but being able to afford a more comfortable life because he had his land.
Right.
Like he was a tanner, and that was how he paid a lot of his bills. But finally, when he had his own land to work, was when his tanning became a side. He was able to finally do what he did on the side with his tanning business because his land was providing his needs.
Right. Yeah. That story is common, throughout history, I think, right?
Yeah.
That kind of scenario.
Yeah, because, he was having to purchase everything, all of his food and all of his whatever he needed for his livelihood. But now that he had his land, he was able to provide for a lot of his own needs.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. It's just, you just have to use the land, the best way you can. And there's lots of different ways to do that. So what was the name of that book?
Amos Fortune, Free Man. It's written by Elizabeth Yates. It's on numerous homeschool book lists. Like if you're studying American history, you've seen it. It's a really common book.
Very cool. So anyway, that's the article over Off the Grid News. So what did you think of that article? Compared to other articles they've done in the past.
It was all right.
I mean, it's except for the whole rabbit manure composting first. That's
yeah.
But all right. So folks, before we head over to the chat room, we'll talk about this real quick. Another reason, this was also in Off the Grid News, and I saw this, today when I was searching around for articles, or actually earlier this evening. It says, new law for gun owners, turn in your magazines by July 1st. That's today. So if you live in California, land of the free, home of the brave, California, the People's Republic of California, you have to turn in any gun magazine that holds more than 10 rounds. You have to turn it in to law enforcement. You must turn in your larger than 10 round magazines.
10 rounds?
Yeah, you can only have 10 rounds.
Wow.
If your magazine holds more than 10 rounds, you have to turn it in. That's the law now. It goes into effect today, right now. So get busy, you guys out there in California. Turn in those gun magazines. It was neat. I was reading the article, and they said not one person has come in and turned their gun magazine in. Whole state. I'm not kidding you. That's what the article said. It said no one is complying with the law. Well, I'm hoping most of the gun owners have moved out of that state by now. So, and the Shasta County Sheriff, where's Shasta County at?
I'm not sure.
It says they're not going to be going down, knocking on doors either. So most of the sheriffs are not willing to enforce this law. They see it as stupid. They see it as a waste of time. He says the article says from UCLA School of Law Professor Adam Winkler, we see no compliance from gun owners. He told the Sacramento Bee, as best as we can tell, no gun owners are giving up their high capacity magazines or selling them out of state. they're just being buried in the backyard. If you choose to remain there, they're just being buried in the backyard. So these would ban common clips. They're not clips, they're magazines. For popular semi-automatic rifles, including the AR-15, AK-47, and the highly popular Ruger 1022 hunting and target rifle, as well as many other types of firearms that carry magazines larger than 10 rounds. But anyway, if you're living in California, this is just to put you on notice that you have to turn in your gun magazines if they hold more than 10 rounds. All right, let's head over to the chat room. Head over there and see what's going on. And if you have questions and you want to ask us questions, it's usually about this time with about 15, 20 minutes left in the show that we head over to the chat room and answer questions. Please post them in all caps. All caps. Post your questions in all caps so that we see them. And if we don't get to them the first time around because we're answering another question or talking about something else, please post your question again so we can see it. We want to try to get to as many questions as possible, so feel free to post them again if we don't get to them the first time. And post them in all caps. And folks, please check out our website at AmericanHomestead.com. You'll find the article we talked about before, mentioned previously, as well as lots of other articles. And check us out on STEEMIT. Link in the description below of this video, STEEMIT.com. Having a great time over there and building a following. And Jamie posted her first blog post over there. It was called Steam is Steam. Steam really is Steam. Mm-hmm. And it did pretty good. It got a lot of reviews and a lot of comments and a lot of upvotes. So if you're interested, you can go read. If you like reading Jamie's stuff, she wrote a really good article over there. It includes some history lessons and things like that. So it's over at STEEMIT.com. You can find the link in the description below. Look for her article. It's called Steam Really Is Steam. Is your aquaponics still operational? Jay Messick says, no, it's turned off right now. And it's because it takes up way too much water. I was with and I've explained this a couple other times, but people ask, and so I'll keep talking about it, is in the heat of the summer when that greenhouse is about 120 degrees in there, I mean, you're getting an evaporation rate of about 250 gallons a week because the water is constantly moving. And so we were having to top that thing off 250 gallons a week, for all, because it's a big system. It loses a lot of water. And so we have to keep topping it off, and it just got to a point where it was draining our wells too much, and we just didn't want to keep doing it. So, no, we have it shut down. What we're going to do at some point, probably after the summer, is remove about 3/4 of it. Out of the 4 sections, the 4 grow beds, we'll remove 3, keep 1 in there for doing sprouts, and we'll raise some fish in there, maybe use some koi or something like that to grow the plants because they're great for that. And then we'll use the rest for like fig trees or miniature pomegranate trees. I really like the idea of doing that, or some other types of trees. But we'll do some other things in there. Coming out after summer is over, we're going to do that changeover. Does Jamie have her own STEEMIT account? No, because like me, she works for an American Homestead LLC. And an American Homestead has its channel over there. I don't even have my own channel, or my page. You don't want your own page over there, do you?
No. You guys, I'm not a social media junkie. I'm just not. I don't even like to get on Facebook. And if you've friended me on Facebook and I've accepted your friend request, it's really rare. I don't get on. I don't like it. I don't like spending my days on social media.
Yeah, and if you notice, I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook either anymore. Why would you spend time on Facebook when you can earn money on STEEMIT?
Yeah, but even then, I don't know. I'm just not into it like you are. I never comment on things. I don't like to get into discussions online. That's always been your thing. Yeah. Ever since I've known you, that's been your... I mean, Zach would get on forums for anything.
Yeah,
like
he
would join forums before social media even existed. I mean, this was even before MySpace. He would get on forums just so that he could chat with people.
I was always on AR15.com, been a member of that since like 2005 or 2004. MissouriCarry.com, website I started. That was getting started by the time we were we were getting married.
Mm-hmm.
And that's still going today. But I founded that website, and it's got a really good, I don't know how big the forum is now, but there's people who still hang out. But when Facebook came out, a lot of that stuff kind of fell by the wayside. But, there's still tens of thousands of people that hang out on AR15.com. So, Jamie, what book were you just talking about? Rock's Corner wants to know.
When we were talking about, it was called Amos Fortune, Amos Fortune. It's written by Elizabeth Yates, Yates. It's an early slavery book, like way before the Civil War. I chose it because we were studying that time period, and I wanted Joshua to learn about slavery during that time period, because you hear it all the time, the Civil War period. But slavery was, it's always been in America. Even when the first colonists came over, they were bringing slaves over with them.
Yeah. Sheben.
Where?
I don't know what's that name?
Oh, I don't know. Shabone?
You guys are too busy to be online all the time. That's totally true. I got too many other things to do. Plus, some of my work is online, so I'm busy doing that. I have to turn. I just can't stand being on Facebook anymore. There's too much drama, too much people fighting on there. And why would I go somewhere where, I can go to STEEMIT, I can read amazing articles, good articles, informative articles, I can learn things, and I can comment, and I can get paid for commenting. Facebook and YouTube will never pay people just for watching and commenting. STEEMIT does, and it's completely free. So I really like that. Zach and Jamie are polar opposites socially.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why we attract. What will you do with your first calf after your cow calves? Well, it depends. If it's a boy, we will eat him. We'll let him grow up a little bit, and then we'll eat him. He'll be steak dinner, multiple steak dinners. And then if it's a girl, we will probably keep her and use her for milk switching out, because we'll maybe milk the cow for how long? 8 months, 6 months?
I think it's like around 8 months is the average.
Yeah.
From what I've been told.
So we'll do 8 months of milking the cow and then dry her up, and about the same time we'll have it worked out to where the other cow is getting ready to calve, and then we'll use her. She'll be in milk, and so we'll keep that rotation going, so that we most of the time have milk coming in. And after we have 2 females, we'll start selling the females, because you can make good money on selling females. We may even keep 3 if I can get this dozer up and running, and I can start clearing pasture down to the other side of my land, my acreage, so I can connect some pasture land. I'll have enough to have a few female cows, pumping out cows. And these miniature jerseys produce, they make good money if you sell them. So, and we got, our neighbors, some of you guys saw them in season 2, episode 1. That's what they used to do. They used to have jerseys. And so, you can make good money on jerseys. The average price for a female jersey selling to be a milk cow is around $3,000. So I think I'll do that. I got a really good deal on ours. So let's see. Could Jamie tell us more about her time in New Guinea? I think you have a couple articles on the website about that. How do they find them? Let's see.
I don't know. I've talked about it at different times, but in relation to homesteading, just things like that we did that when I was growing up, we had rain tanks. That was just the way it was. Did I spell that right? Rain tanks was Guinea. Guinea. All of our water came from rain tanks. And so to me, actually buying water was like, I have to do what now? I have to pay a water bill, and it became commonplace until we moved off grid. But still, water is free. Why do we have to buy water? That's always been a hard pill for me to swallow when we were in the city. So we collected rainwater. We had a hot water heater where we built a fire every night, and if we didn't build a fire, we didn't have hot water. just, little things like that made me appreciate being self-sufficient, I guess.
If you're interested in more of her articles, she has some pictures of her in Papua New Guinea. If you go to our website, AnAmericanHomestead.com, you can go to the search box up at the top right of the screen, and just type in New Guinea, and you'll find a number of articles that come up that Jamie has written with pictures and talking about her life in Papua New Guinea. Shiban, or whatever your name is. Shiban. Is the dozer fixed? If not, what's the status? It's Shiban. Okay. No, it's not fixed yet. I did a video this week. It was over it's on YouTube. And we're going to be... It's a track loader sack manual, Ricardo says. The pump... I'm trying to figure out. I think there's parts missing for the pump. The fittings that connect the hoses to the pump for the hydraulic pump. And so I'm having a guy come out, look at it, and he's going to give us... some ideas. Hopefully, I'm just going to let him fix it and be done with it. But I want to make sure it's done right, So I don't want to take a chance of hooking up wrong and ruining something. So he's gonna do it. Hopefully, he'll get to it sometime later this week, is what he told me. So I gotta call him back up on Monday and see what I can do. See if I can track him down. Jersey cows have good fat content in their milk. That's true. Very good, very true. Jersey cows, miniatures, the original Jerseys were miniatures, okay? They were bred to be bigger. So the big Jersey cows you see now were not original. Original Jerseys come from Jersey Island, which is between, I believe, France and England. It's an island over there. And original Jersey cows from Jersey Island are miniature. They're all miniature. If you didn't know that. Piece of, Jersey cow trivia for you. How much of your food would you say you produce yourselves? Oh, I don't know. I'd say we're...
It's really hard to judge that.
It's different between the years because it changes.
Between the seasons.
Oh, I'm sorry, between the seasons because it changes. So, but I would say we're about half, maybe a little over half. Like last night I was eating some of my deer meat my heart salami.
Yeah.
And
I think the thing that you have to realize too is that, okay, so I would put food in probably 3 different classes. Okay, so the first class would be that food that you actually grow on your land yourself, or you hunt on your land yourself. So it could include the animals you raise plus your garden. So 100% produced by you. And then my other class would be bulk food that I buy that I do something with to prepare it. So maybe I buy a great big bag of black beans and I soak those beans and I prepare them myself. Or most likely I will can them because I feel like that's easier and I can just stick them on my shelf, open the jar when I need them. Okay, so bulk food. And then the next class of food would be food that you would just buy at the store, bring home and prepare. It's already ready to go.
So like McDonald's. How often do we do that?
No, that would be another class. Okay, so I try to use what we can grow on our land, obviously, mostly. I try to purchase a lot of bulk food and prepare it myself. But yes, we do buy a lot of not a lot, but what would you say? I think that for us right now, dairy is a big thing that we buy at the store.
Yeah, because we buy lots of cheese. Every week it's cheese.
I still don't think we buy a lot of that compared to what we used to before we lived off grid. For example, we don't buy a lot of yogurt. We don't buy sour cream. We don't buy cheese sticks. We don't buy, basically the only dairy we buy is a pound of cheese every week and butter.
What I'm hoping, I was just thinking about this today, is at one point I want to dig out a root cellar with this track loader we're getting because it's got a big bucket on the front of it. It's a big track loader. It'd be great for digging out. And so I want to build a root cellar, a really good sized root cellar, and we can cure cheeses in that root cellar. We can smoke the cheeses in our smokehouse. We can cure them long term inside the root cellar, and that is our cheese. And we can get a cheese press, and we'll just have cheese on rotation, from our milk cows, at some point. And it'll just be every week we're putting a new cheese block in there, and that's like, and so that's what people used to do. And so at some point we'll do that. Let's see, where was it? Yeah, don't forget the thumbs up. Hey guys, listen, really appreciate you if you could hit that thumbs up, and before you leave, the show's got about 5 more minutes. We'll answer some more questions, but hit the thumbs up if you can. Really appreciate that. That tells YouTube that we're not completely worthless. So really appreciate that. Yeah, it says, we would love to make our own cheeses someday. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to make our own cheeses. And other dairy items. I mean, we love milk, but cheeses and butters, and they make butter churn still. You can get today.
Yep.
Can you do more videos on veggies and fruits that will grow in the Ozarks? I've done videos on veggies and fruits that don't normally grow in the Ozarks. For instance, like apple trees. Apple trees are not. What's the word I'm looking for? Apple trees don't normally... I mean, if you want good apple orchards, you go to Washington State, you go up to Michigan, you go up to Wisconsin, or upper north areas. Even in Missouri and Iowa, there's some good apple orchards. But, Washington State produces amazing apples. But, down here... I mean, you have cedar trees and cedar rust, and you have lots of things that will really, terrorize an apple orchard to the point that if you don't have the right chemicals, it's not going to survive. It's going to be hard for you to keep those trees alive. But peaches do really good here. Pear trees do okay. Things like apricots do really well here. So, I mean, there's lots of things that do well here. I mean, what was that word I was thinking? I used it in a video not too long ago where I showed cabbage. Cabbages are not, indigenous, I guess, to say, here. I mean, there's other things that grow better than cabbage here. Cabbages do better up north as well, because you have different things that affect the cabbages. But, there's different things that do better in different places. But because we have technology and because we know things and we have the ability to trade seeds online, we have a lot of things. Like right now, I have achicha cucumbers growing in my garden. Those are originally from Bolivia. They have never grown in Arkansas. I was probably the first guy in the history of the world to grow a Bolivian achicha cucumber in Arkansas. But they're growing here, and they grow great. So, what do you think of the American milking Devon? Devon, is that a milking cow?
Devonshire, maybe?
Devonshire? I don't know anything about that cow. I have no idea. I saw someone ask, do you dehydrate your foods? Yeah, we do some dehydrating. We're going to do some more this year, I think. I'm going to make some changes to the dehydrator. We've done a video on that. You can look it up online, YouTube, an American Homestead dehydrator. You'll find it there. If I didn't have a Jersey cow, we were really thinking about... what?
I'm just laughing at Manuel. I didn't know Washington had an R in it. Yes, Zach says wash instead of wash.
Hey, you've heard of the silent E.
I say wash, he says wash.
You've heard of the silent E. This is the invisible R. It's absolutely there. So Washington State, what was I talking about?
I don't know, but I can't help it.
If I didn't have a Jersey cow, I would get the Scottish Highlander, an amazing cow. All kinds of great things. It's good with kids. It's really good around kids. It's a very mild-mannered cow, even though it has horns, but they're great with children. So if I was going to have another cow, it wouldn't be the Jersey. It would be the Scottish Highlander, and it produces good meat and good milk, and its fur, its hide, is highly valued. Highly valued. Washingtonians even say Washington. See, we'll see that. They know how to pronounce their own state name.
Huh, well, good for them.
Washington. I need to go, and it's about time for bed, so I got to go wash.
Yeah.
Get my shower.
I like the Rain Country says, cheese and butter, proof that the Father loves us and wants us to be happy.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, totally.
We love cheese and butter, and so we're going to be making here our own eventually on the homestead. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in again this week. You really mean a lot to us. Hit that thumbs up button on the way out, and be sure to tune in again next week when we come up with a whole new show for you guys. 9 Central, 10 Eastern. See you next time on the homestead.